Thunder Bay has lots of interesting people. We're going to start talking to them.
We're back. We're going to be doing some video, a lot more video with some of Thunder Bay's most interesting people. Today, Lori Paris, who is doing a real shift. Lori, what do our readers and viewers need to know?
Oh, I've written a book. Thanks for having me, James. But a couple of years ago, I decided to get out of politics completely and start thinking about retirement and what was I going to do after the Hub Bazaar and the Red Bicycle when we decide to close that chapter. So I wrote a book about my hobby. And my hobby is in researching the sacred feminine, Knights Templar, the mystery of Rennes-le-Chateau. And in those years of doing that, I really seriously got into that in about 2006, made a trip to Europe in 2008 to do some research. And, here we are in 2025, and I have a book called The Stone of the Savior, The Return of the She-Christ. It's a nonfiction book that we hope we're looking at getting a traditional publisher right now, but if we haven't by June, we're committed to self-publishing.
So many publishers that are seeing this, there's an author looking for.
Reach out.
Tease our readers a little bit. What is the genesis of the book?
Basically, it's a compelling argument and a plea to the Pope to let women into the priesthood.
An ages-old debate.
But it gives a compelling argument, and it's based on scholarly research. There's over 300 citations in the book that gives a plausible and compelling argument that women have always been able to be a priest in the Catholic Church. But we're going to leave that there because I don't want to get into the book too much, because I think what we're talking about today is I'm going to be speaking about the fact that, I'm 67 years old and I started writing a book when I was 65. And I want to talk on this Saturday, April 5th at the Hub Bazaar at 1 p.m., 1 to 2:30, about life after 65 or even life after 55 and how we can stay active, creative, not take the bait to be put out to pasture, and that we still have a lot to contribute to society and our communities.
That's an excellent topic, because so many times now we have seniors who normally would have retired, and a lot of seniors you see them in our daily lives where somebody retires and a year or so later they're gone. And yet it just looks like they stopped doing. And all of a sudden they get up in the morning or not. Was there a reason to get up? And that's the change that we now have in our world, is that we don't have to stop.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is our culture, especially, I can only speak, for myself, being a woman, that we are really, encouraged to just, walk away, make room for the younger generation. And I've always done that. In my business, the Hub Bazaar, I teach young entrepreneurs how to start business and how to, do it on a low fee, low risk model, what they need to do, what they don't, how to navigate that path for success. But I also think when we get to this age and everything we've experienced really has value. And I know a lot of us have hobbies that we knew we couldn't earn a living from. So we had to go and do our jobs and answer the responsibility of making sure our family's fed and our rent is paid. They have a roof over their head. But when we get to this point, and if we've done things well, and we have a good financial foundation, I can take my hobby. And so I've made that hobby into a business. And so that's, that will be I'm retiring per se from lifting big furniture, because at my age, that's might not be wise. I want to stay healthy and I want to stay functioning. So I've taken that book idea and really invested my time, energy, and money into that moving forward. And because I didn't give up, I have a book in my hand. The book is finished. It's been edited. It's publisher ready. And that's the next phase.
So,
When we get to that point, like I said, I still own the Hub Bazaar, the Red Bicycle. We're still in business. We're still supporting young entrepreneurs, old entrepreneurs. You know, you'll hear an announcement within the next year of what we're doing there.
now, the interesting thing is, you know, I've been watching this with a lot of people. The term side hustle, and
Side hustle.
on
Yeah.
YouTube, I have been watching some people for 5 or 6 years who've literally gone from a woodworking video channel that is now paying their way in the world. It's ironic today because the technology is so advanced, it's advancing so quickly, it's hard to keep up. And yet we're watching a lot of older, you know, 40 plus people who have shifted directions. And I think one of the impetus to that was COVID. It taught us we didn't have to be chained to a desk in an office.
Yeah, for me during COVID is when I seriously, I mean, I've always wrote, you know, I've written, you know, editorial pieces. I wrote for business, whether it was a proposal to get a grant or a proposal to get a loan, but I didn't write nonfiction. I didn't write, you know, for a book per se. So during COVID, Hay House had a 7-day workshop. So Hay House is one of the publishers I've submitted my work to. And I joined, so I did that 7-day workshop. It was pretty amazing. And then I joined their writers community and took their modules. And a lot of it was about just having confidence in yourself that you could do this, and then learning how to begin to write every day. And they start you off with a 7-minute writing. So you commit to writing 7 minutes a day. I couldn't even do that at the beginning. So, you know, in 2020, you know, when I took this, or 2021, now I can write 4, 5, 6 hours a day straight, you know, but it's about committing to the process and committing to doing it. And a lot of things go to the side. So I had to get out of politics because I had to completely commit and immerse myself in this, and then also be responsible for my businesses. So still doing my day job, right? So on all my days off, and, you know, a few hours in the morning before I went to work, we worked on this. And after 2 years, not only do I have do I have this book, but I also have a podcast. So I want to get back to, you know, kind of touching on what you just said. I had the responsibility at my age to stay current. So that was, you know, picking up an iPhone, having an iPhone, learning about, this new technology, you know, on the internet, how to start a podcast, how to record my own reels for TikTok. It's a lot. The biggest thing is to remember, one day at a time, one step at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. Trust the process, trust in yourself. You can do it. And so I'm not saying it's not a lot of work. It's a heck of a lot of work, but in the end, it's worth it, because now, you know, I have to think, my grandmother lived into her 90s. My mother is going to be 92 in May. I'm 67. I got over 25 years of life left. And they were active, you know, right until they, you know, my grandmother was active right until she passed. My mother, you know, we tease because, you know, she could go up and down those basement stairs at 90. You know, we were like, Mom, stop. You know, my family just has a zest for life, and we don't believe in giving up or quitting. You know, I'm not here to chastise anybody or you know, speak about their choices for their, you know, how they want to live their senior years. But I know there's a lot of men and women like me who just need the encouragement to continue. You've got 25 more years of life
Live it.
that can't be spent in front of a television or a computer. Or if you're on a computer, do something, you know, open the Word document, start writing, start journaling, start talking about your life. Write that memoir. do something. So, this Saturday, I just want to, tell people a little bit about my story, why I did it, why I keep going, why I feel that as seniors, or the Indigenous people call their seniors elders, that I think we have a responsibility to ensure that the younger generation hear what we have to say, because there's wisdom in the older years, right? And so for me it was, and I also have some time now. My children are grown, my grandchildren are grown, and that I can write down and I can share, and you don't have to believe me, but I can share with you what I've dug out and found, what I believe we can do as communities, is what we can do as seniors or elder citizens, for our community, for our world. And so that's what I'm doing this Saturday. I'm just going to give you a little bit of my story, and then I'm going to open up to the floor for discussion. So it's not a lot of talk from me. Half of it's going to be about taking questions, hearing about people's challenges they're having, and where we're going.
Making a difference.
I hope so. I believe we can all make a difference. And I'm very open about saying that I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've got approximately 35 years sobriety. I lose track sometimes in knowing. And when I sit in meetings, or when I participate in sharing circles, I can, there's somebody sitting in that circle, and they say something that just touches me, or helps me to understand something that I was not getting. So I think we can learn something from anybody, anywhere, at any time.
So
And so, it's been a long time since I've been in a room by myself in front of a computer for 2 years. And so you're my first interview in a very long time, and I thank you for having patience with me. But I'm just I just think I've got something to say, and I think I would regret if I didn't say it. And that is maybe my message to other people, in my age or even older. It's never too late to start, and you have something to say, and there's somebody who needs to hear it.
So this Saturday at the Hub Bazaar?
Yeah, this Saturday, April 5th, it starts at 1 p.m. It goes till 2:30. And like I said, I'll only be speaking for the first, half of it, maybe less. And because I want to open the floor to listening to what other people are doing in the community, what kind of their dream or visions are for their future. And they have to know 25 years, right, is a long time. And you can't live in the fear that you're going to, because I'm telling you, as a senior, you start thinking about that. I have to be responsible in my decisions, because what if I only live till I'm 70? What if I only, but we've got to get past that and think about, the big picture, and living a full life right to the bitter end.
Laurie, thank you very much for tuning in. It's James with NetNewsLedger. Stay tuned for more interesting things from Thunder Bay.
Thanks, James.
If you like what you see, stay tuned. Subscribe. Keep up to date with NetNewsLedger News.